Good morning, everyone. This is Todd Lamb, Assistant Commissioner for Communications at the Southland Conference. I'll be your moderator for today's call. Thank you for joining us. It's the Week 12 Southland Conference Football Coaches Weekly Teleconference. I want to go over a few guidelines before we get started. We do restrict the call to official news gathering media members only. The general public, including fans and fan websites, are prohibited from participating during the live call. Do not place the call on hold or use the speakerphone function at any time while on the call today. We have muted all phone lines prior to the start of the call. You may unmute your line to speak or to ask a question by pressing *6. That is the same command you should use to mute your call after you're through speaking. Prior to asking a question, we do ask that media members identify themselves by both name and media organization, and that any violation of these guidelines may lead to immediate disconnection from the call. I want to go over last week's results. We had number 6-7 Sam Houston beating Nichols 49-24. Northwestern State beat Lamar 37-28. Number 11-13 McNeese State beat Stephen F. Austin 69-38. And number 16-17 Southeastern Louisiana won at number 24 Central Arkansas 58-31. There were a couple of games involving Future League members. Abilene Christian lost at Incarnate Word 34-31, and Houston Baptist wrapped up its inaugural season of football and a loss to Texas A&M Commerce 51-21. Abilene Christian and Incarnate Word are playing their final games of the season this Saturday. The Wildcats play at Prairie View A&M Saturday at 1, and UIW plays host to Angelo State Saturday at 2. That leads us into this week's schedule. Number 4 Sam Houston at number 14 Southeastern Louisiana at 3 p.m. on the Southland Conference television network. Central Arkansas is at Nichols at 3. Stephen F. Austin is at Lamar at 6. And Northwestern State is at number 9/11 McNeese State at 7 p.m. That game will be available on ESPN3. I want to take a quick look at the polls this week. There are 3 Southland teams ranked this week. All 3 teams are ranked in the top 14 of both polls. Sam Houston State number 4 in both polls. McNeese State number 9 in the Sports Network poll, and number 11 in the Coaches poll. In Southeastern Louisiana checks in at number 14 in both polls. Central Arkansas is now receiving votes in both of the polls. 25 points in the Sports Network poll and 2 in the Coaches poll. Players of the week last week. On offense, Brian Bennett from Southeastern Louisiana. He rushed for a season-high 142 yards and scored 2 touchdowns, giving him a league-high 13 rushing touchdowns this season. That's the second highest total in school history. He threw for 202 yards and 2 scores in their win at Central Arkansas last Saturday. Defensive Player of the Week, Kellen Johnson from Northwestern State. He helped the Demons hold Lamar to 5 rushing yards, 2 offensive touchdowns, and only 263 total yards in their 37-28 win over the Cardinals last week. He had 6 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, including a 9-yard sack. Special Teams Player of the Week, Deontay Spencer from McNeese. He set or tied Penn School Conference, or FCS, records with a total of 3 touchdown returns in the Cowboys' win at Stephen F. Austin. He found the end zone on 2 kickoff returns of 93 and 85 yards, and again on a 35-yard punt return. He also had 7 receptions for 152 yards and 2 touchdowns, giving him 365 all-purpose yards, which is a conference record. We will now move on to the coaches portion of today's call. Coach Conk, are you with us?
Yeah, Todd, I'm here.
All right. Joined now by Clint Conk, the head coach at Central Arkansas. Last week, the Bears lost to Southeastern Louisiana 58-31, and this week play at Nichols. That game is Saturday at 3 p.m. Central Arkansas 5-5 overall, 2-3 in conference play. Coach, if you would, talk about that game last week on the Stripes, and then give us a preview of what you expect in returning to your alma mater down in Nichols.
Well, certainly congratulations to Ron and his football program. It was a complete win for them here in Conway last week. They're on a roll, and he's got a good football team. With that said, though, we spotted Southeastern 14 points. Opening kickoff was returned for a touchdown, first play of the game. And then we threw a pick six, and you just can't do that against a good football team. With that said, though, it was 24-17 at half. We got 2 shots to get it in inside the 1 to tie it up. Thought our kids competed hard. We didn't get it in. They denied us. We opened the third quarter, and they hit the gas, and we couldn't find the brakes. And depth is becoming a real issue, particularly on the defensive side of the football, and they exploited that. With that said, we scored 31 points, and we drop a touchdown pass. We can't get it in from the 1, and then we can't convert a short field goal, and so we left a lot of points on the field. This is not a different Southeastern team that we've seen really and truly for the 7 years we've been in the conference, except for the fact of Brian Bennett. He is everything is advertised. Southeastern, every year that we have played them, has been big, physical, a lot of speed. But Bennett is the best dual threat quarterback we've played since we've moved to Division I in 2006. The guy can run it. We thought we had him dead to rights several times. Breaks out for long runs. Again, I went in knowing that he was vastly underrated as a passer. And he hit us several times with accurate throws. And he makes all that speed and all that size and all that other stuff around him that they've always had, and they're very deep, fairly healthy football team, much better. He is just, as advertised, obviously one of the top quarterbacks in America coming out of high school playing at Oregon. And certainly he's a dynamic piece to their football team, makes them go. With that said, we've got to transition very quickly and make the long trip down to Thibodaux. Of course, a place that I'm very familiar with and excited to have the opportunity to bring our team into John L. Guidry Stadium. Very athletic team. Play 3 quarterbacks. All of them bring different tools to the table. Very impressed with Figaro. Toscani's a big, strong athlete, again, a dual-threat guy that can throw it, a very skilled runner. A lot of motions and formations. Defensively, they strike you. They give up some plays, but they get you on the ground. They make you earn everything that you get. They play well at home. It'll be a tremendous challenge for us, particularly given some of our depth issues. I think we only played 49 players against Southeastern, and 10 or 12 of those guys were either true freshmen or non-scholarship kids. So we got to circle the wagons and try to finish this thing the right way, and certainly looking forward to playing a very tough, very much improved Nicholls State football team.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Clint Conk, the head coach at Central Arkansas. Media, just a reminder, please identify yourself by name and affiliation, and you may need to press *6 to unmute your phone line.
Good morning, Coach Conk. It's Teddy from the Daily Comment in Thibodaux. How you doing, bud?
Hey, Teddy. Good to talk to you, man.
Coach. Coach, you mentioned about facing, a dual-threat quarterback last week, and Figaro, while maybe not as polished as a passer as the Bennett kid, he's definitely a load running the football and has kind of given this Colonel offense an identity with his physicality of running. I saw you gave up 343 yards rushing last week, and one that's Nichols is what they're doing. I mean, obviously you want to improve on that effort, but facing another dual-threat quarterback, I mean, how do you look to improve off of that?
Well, I mean, I think, regardless of who you're playing, you want to try to defend the run. and we certainly did not do a very good job of that last week, and we've struggled at times taking away the run against teams that really want to pound the football, and Toscani's bigger, so he's much more difficult to bring down. He's very fast, but I mean, he's a 215, 20-pound athlete that, and then he can sneak a pass in on you. So it's not like that they're afraid to throw the football with him. But the thing that I've been disappointed in is our angles and sometimes our tackling ability and leverage and that kind of thing the last couple of weeks. And of course, Hilliard's been a factor for him as well, replacing Washington. But it's going to take a tremendous effort because they've got weapons outside, at receiver and at tight end, and depth has really become an issue for us on defense. Southeastern was rolling just fresh D linemen and linebackers in and out of the football game the other day, and we're not health-wise with the ability to do that at this point in the season. So we got to get off the field. We got to try to stop them and get off the field and score as many points as we can on offense.
And Coach, you mentioned injury. Nichols is a beat-up team too. They've got the several starters out there. It's really everybody's got injuries, and I'm not taking away that, but kind of look like y'all two teams that maybe dealt with the most this year.
Well, I can't speak for everybody, but I mean, we've never seen anything like this. I mean, we've got four broken, fractured, dislocated ankles. We've never had a broken ankle in 14 years here, and we've got 4 of them in the same season for starters, and then half a dozen ACLs. I mean, it's just stuff that everybody's got injuries. And you start talking about the typical high ankle sprain, bruised sternum, or lateral ankle sprain, or an MCL. I mean, everybody's got that kind of stuff, and everybody's got a starter or 2 down, but I can't speak for other programs, but it's been ridiculous around here. But we're not going to. I mean, hey, we're going to. I think we'll put 50, 52 on the bus. We're going to go to Thibodeau, and we're going to play our brains out best we can. But we know it's going to take an incredible effort. To stop a very skilled quarterback. Actually, about 3 of them. Bo comes in the game and goes 15 or 16 against Sam Houston. So. It's going to take an incredible effort. Nichols does play well at home. Charlie's got him playing with a lot of confidence, and we got to improve in the kicking game as well, and then value the football a little bit better than what we've been doing the last couple of weeks. So we're going to keep coaching them, and our kids are going to play hard.
And one more thing, Coach. Nichols is kind of I guess like throwing the kitchen sink out there, onside kicks, trying different things to generate momentum. This is, a couple of teams kind of playing out their strength. Could we kind of see that maybe, a little more things, a fake punch, different things, just to kind of get some momentum in this game from either side?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you do what you think you can do. And if you see an advantage someplace on the football field, or you're looking for a momentum opportunity, I think, all good coaches are going to look at those opportunities, whether it's the first game or the 10th or 11th game of the season. We onside kicked to start the season one year, and did it again in Game 5. I mean, you just, you wherever you think you can get an opportunity to put your team in the best situation, I think you look at that. And I mean, Southeastern's 5-0 in conference, and they faked a punt against us in the 3rd or 4th quarter the other night, or attempted one. So I think. It's just part of your plan. Whatever advantage you feel like you can gain, whether it be on offense, defense, or the kicking game, I think every coach is going to, look for opportunities.
All right, Coach. Thank you very much.
Hey, you bet, Teddy.
Other questions for Coach Conk?
Yes, Coach Conk. This is John Lansdowne at the Hammond Daily Star.
Hey, John.
Hey, could you go back for a moment to the goal line stand at the end of the first half? Obviously, a really key situation there, and what happened on especially those last 2 plays? Looks like you guys kind of went behind your best offensive lineman, and it got stacked up. What did you see on the film? What happened on those 2 plays?
Well, I think the play before we threw a little mesh route down to the goal line to one of our freshman receivers, and it was a bang-bang play at the goal line. We thought he got in. They called him not in. I mean, that's a learning moment for him, because I think he could have gave a little bit more effort to get in the end zone instead of just falling, because he really wasn't tackled. With that said, though, in the first quarter, we had run a hurry-up quarterback sneak on a 4th and less than a yard on our very first drive of the game, and got it. And of course, that led to a touchdown to tie the game 7-7. we went to the same sequence down the goal line and got stuffed. You can see an extra effort there, but there's a lot of bodies there. And then on fourth down, just too much penetration by Southeastern, and they did a great job.
Obviously, I mean, a lot of things happened after that and all, and you couldn't hold them down. But in terms of the momentum swing, that was pretty crucial.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, our kids were confident at halftime. I mean, we knew that we'd left some points on the field, but and spotted them 7, on the very first play of the game. So, I think what happened is they cranked up the volume, and we couldn't turn it down, and in all 3 phases in the third quarter, and then depth became an issue, and again, Bennett is just, I mean, and John, and you and I have talked a lot over the years. I mean, Southeastern has always had size, speed, each and every year going back to when we first started playing them in 07. Brian Bennett makes all those guys better, and he is a phenomenal football player. Phenomenal football player. And he makes everybody better because it makes you have to change a lot of things that you try to do to defend them now. And that's not to take anything away from Stanley or other good quarterbacks they've had there. But when you've got that, like when we had with Smothers, when you've got that element of mobility, and trust me, Smothers is not in the same class with Bennett, but that makes everybody around him better and makes you have to change some things on how you approach it. I mean, we get everybody covered up in man coverage. He tucks it down, steps out of a sack, and runs for 70 yards. I mean, there's nobody else in this league that can, Toscani can do that, but consistently be able to do that. And, so great recruiting get for them.
Thanks, Coach.
You bet.
All right, Coach, appreciate your time today. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you.
Coach Stubbs, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, joined now by Charlie Stubbs, the head coach at Nichols. Last week, the Colonels lost at Sam Houston 49-24, and this week play host to Central Arkansas. That game is Saturday at 3. Nichols 4-6 overall, 1-4 in the conference. Coach, talk about your trip to Huntsville and the game last week, and then let us know what you're expecting from the Bears on Saturday.
Well, every conference game is challenging, and again, going against Sam Houston, I mean, they're such a physical football team on all 3 phases, and they really don't give anything away. I mean, they challenge you on everything. Their defense is always very aggressive, and they're not going to just give you some easy runs or throws just to kind of get some confidence. You have to make everything you get. Excellent football team. Give Willie all the credit in the world for those guys, and again, they're playing well. I thought that, we, of course, to beat a team like that, we got to play very well in all 3 phases, and we had our moments, but then we also had those periods of time during the game where they were able to extend the lead and make some plays that we weren't able to make. Again, as we keep mentioning all the time, I think throughout the whole conference, everybody faces injuries, but we're getting a lot of valuable experience with some of our young guys playing, and again, that's not exactly the team you want to get that experience against, but the kids played all the way through the game, 4 quarters. We did some things, tried to, like I say, jumpstart the football team with a little onside kick here or there, and we did recover one of them, but I thought that we finished the game strong. In the last quarter, we were able to get some stops defensively, and then also get a turnover, and then receive an onside kick, and then the offense was able to execute and get down there and get some late scores, and that's always something good when you're playing a real dominant team like Sam Houston, for us to come off the field with some positive and something to carry us over into the next week. Well, now we're into the next week again. We're just a shell of the team we once were earlier in the year, but we have 3 games, if you count Sam Houston, and then this one with Central Arkansas, and then Southeastern, all within a short period of time. And so it's taken its toll a little bit. But we're excited. We're excited because it is senior day here at Nichols on Saturday versus Central Arkansas. We have 23 young men that I brought in that are just class acts and worked hard, and all on pace to graduate. So a lot of good things there, and I know that we'll come out ready to go. we're excited about the opportunity. We know we're playing a very good football team, similar to ours in the way of the injuries, but isn't everybody like that right now? So we're excited, and we'll move forward. And I just realize, and the program realizes it here, you've got to bring your A game to win conference games in the Southland Conference.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Charlie Stubbs at Nichols.
Coach, this is Dave McCollum from the Log Cabin Democrat in Conway, and just wanted to ask you. You mentioned you are a shell of the team that started the season. Central Arkansas is in a similar situation. What do you play for now? What's the challenge in motivating your players and kind of finishing the season?
Well, I mean, it just as I try to always, talk about the game of football. It mirrors life. You can't give up. You never quit. All those kind of things that everybody talks about. Sending the seniors off, on a high note. Winning our last conference game, and then against Southeastern, striving to try to win our final game of the year, which carries over into the off season. And here at Nichols, we're just trying to get better. I mean, we haven't arrived to, when you play 3 non-conference FBS teams in your schedule already, it's hard to even get to the point where you're talking winning seasons until you can get some of those things straight, but also get to where you're just more competitive. And the biggest thing this year, I know we have been a lot more competitive than we've been in the past, and I just like to see that in the last 2 games. So, there's a lot to play for.
Other questions for Coach Stubbs? All right, Coach, appreciate your time today. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Ron, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, joined now by Ron Roberts, the head coach of Southeastern Louisiana. Last week, the Lions won 58-31 at Central Arkansas, and this week play host to Sam Houston State. That game is Saturday at 3 p.m. on the Southland Conference television network. The Lions are 5-0 in conference play, 8-2 overall. Coach, talk a little bit about your win last week and what you're expecting from the Bearcats.
Well, it was a big win, up there on the Stripes. The UCA always, they have a great record at home, and they play very hard, well coached, a good football team. And it was a tough one, and we made some big plays during the third quarter to kind of break the game open. But it was a great football game, and my hat was off to them. Obviously, the effort and the way they were able to execute in the first half. Got a huge one this week. I try to explain it to everybody. As you win, games keep getting bigger and bigger. I've got a huge test. Sam Houston, 2-time, national champion, runner-up. They're a great football team. I think the biggest obstacles is us facing this week is we know, they're going to come in here and they've been in this game before, and they've been in these big type of games, and that's not going to allow them. They're an experienced ball club, a veteran ball club with some great players that have obviously gotten it done, the last couple of years. So we got a huge test, but it's also a huge opportunity for us to go ahead and make our mark and gain some respect in this conference and move up and be a first conference championship here. We can seal that up on Saturday if we can get the win. But more importantly right now, we made a lot of mistakes last week. I don't think we played really well. Made some big plays, but did not play well on a consistent basis. And we're going to have to play a lot better than that to beat Sam Houston.
All right. Coach, you mentioned it a minute ago. You have a chance to clinch at least a share of the conference championship on Saturday with the win. That would be your first, Southeastern's first in the conference since it joined in 2005. I just wanted to point that out. Also, this morning it was announced that Brian Bennett joined the watch list for the Walter Payton Award. Maybe just talk about his contributions. I know Coach Conk had very high praise after seeing him on Saturday.
Yeah, Brian, that's awesome for Brian. I'm very excited for him. I'm excited for Southeastern because, again, that Southeastern names get tagged with all the accolades that he's been able to get. He's a great player. He means a tremendous amount to our football team, not just ability-wise, but leadership-wise, character-wise, and what he brings to a mental toughness standpoint on a day-to-day basis when they go to work. So I'm excited for him, and it's great to see him get those opportunities, those accolades.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Ron Roberts at Southeastern Louisiana. Coach, talk about, where you are with this and just being a game away here from possibly winning a conference title.
Well, I'm excited for our players to put ourselves in this opportunity. That's the biggest part. I mean, I think we've came a long way as a program, but now we've got to finish the job. I don't think everything we've done to this point can really get wiped away with not finishing it. So it's important that we're going to come out. We have to play our best football, and that's if you're going to be a championship team, you got to do that in November, and you got to play your best football when the opportunity arises and the time calls for it. But I'm excited for our players. I'm excited for our fans and our university right here. I think it's something that they've been waiting for a long time for, to be in this opportunity and have this type of game in Strawberry Stadium. That'll be huge. And it's just a huge, I think just playing in this caliber game is going to be a huge step for our program and our university and our athletic program. And, it's like I said, it's going to be a huge challenge for us. And I know Sam Houston obviously has been there and done that multiple times. And, our hats off to them. We have a tremendous amount of respect for them, what they've been able to do. So it'll be a great challenge and a great opportunity.
Other questions for Ron Roberts? All right, Coach. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Jay, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
All right, joined now by Jay Thomas, the head coach at Northwestern State. Last week, the Demons won their second game in a row, beating Lamar 37-28. And this week, travel down to Lake Charles to take on McNeese State. That game is Saturday at 7 p.m. on ESPN3. Northwestern State is 5-5 overall, 2-3 in the conference. Coach, talk about your win last week and the momentum your team is building, and then what you're expecting Saturday from the Cowboys.
Well, obviously, it's always good to get a win in this conference. I mean, they're hard to come by. And Coach Woodard has done a great job with the program at Lamar, and it was back and forth. The entire game could have gone either way. We made some plays down the stretch to get it done, so I was very happy for our team and our players, to come out and respond in the second half and finish the game. And some things that we hadn't, we've been working on this year is trying to play 4 quarters and been able to get those things done, and felt like our guys were slowly getting there. And but I was very happy for our team to get the win against a very, very good football team. And so I tip my hat to Coach Woodard and the staff. They've done a tremendous job. And so, which leads us into this week, another tall challenge, another mountain to climb. And Coach Viator, they keep that thing rolling down there, man, and they're so well balanced in every phase of the game, all 3 areas. There's not many weaknesses anywhere across the board, and do a tremendous job of coaching. I got a ton of respect for what they've done over the years, and again this year they have a really good football team, and we'll have to play our best game. There's no doubt about it. Playing down at their place this year, it's always a difficult place to play. It's a great place to go and play a game, but it's a challenge for our guys to go and see if we can't put 4 quarters of good football together.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Jay Thomas at Northwestern State.
Hey, Coach, Matt Vines from the Shreveport Times. You talked about the kickoff return team, especially, and it seems like every week you're getting the top kickoff return in the nation. Deontay Spencer from McNeese had a 5 total touchdowns, 3 return touchdowns. Talk about the challenge of the challenge again on coverage.
Yeah, I tell you what, it is. I mean, I tell you what, the guy is. He's just got a great knack of returning the ball, man. And the best coverage we could have is just kick it out of the stadium, keep it. But yeah, and that's something that's been a challenge for us all year. Getting our personnel right, injuries, that type of stuff has been flip flopping a lot for us. But yeah, that's going to be another big challenge for our guys, for our team to do that and try to corral him and do a good job of trying to tackle it and not letting it get away from us.
And you talked about, you mentioned earlier in the year, Zach Atkins, your quarterback, he has kind of just a California personality, pretty laid back. How has his personality helped stabilize this offense as it's progressing in its first year under Coach Brown?
Well, he's still progressing. He still makes mistakes, but it's a learning process for him. And the thing about Zach is, he's got that California, laid back attitude, but he's a very fierce competitor on the flip side of that. And it shows in his work habits when he comes to practice every day. He spends the extra time during the week, getting the extra meeting time, that type of stuff. So he certainly is continuing to get better, but it does give the offense a sense of calmness with his attitude, the way he approaches everything. But to his credit, he is a student of the game.
Coach Alex Hickey and Lake Charles, you've got it to 5-5 now. You're in position to have the first winning season there since 2008. I guess just what's really come together, especially in these past couple of games, to put this team in this spot?
Well, it's just putting it together as playing 4 quarters and playing with confidence, and you got the ebbs and flows of a football game, and just getting the team to play, to control the highs of the game and not get too high with it, and then not get too lows with the lows, and playing through the adversity of the game. It's been it's been a challenge for us, our team, to get them to do that and play that way, and it's been a work in progress throughout the season, and we've gotten better in that area. We still have a ways to go, but I think in the last 3 or 4 weeks, it's really improved, and it's given us a chance to compete in the fourth quarter and have a chance to win the game.
Hey, Jay, Brett McCormick at the Town Talk.
Hey, Brett.
Hey, you mentioned just a little sliver there. You won 2 in a row now. Can you talk a little bit about what that does for your team's confidence?
Well, it gives us a big shot in the arm. A couple of different ways. One, the philosophies that we came in with, our approach. It solidifies those areas that we're trying to get taught with our team, and then of course building the confidence that our guys can go out and play good football, on Saturday, which you got to have, to play in this league. The caliber of coaching and the players. It's tough week in and week out. So you got to be very consistent in your preparation during the week and how you prepare for the game. And then, of course, it's got to carry over to how you play on Saturday.
You're leading the league in sacks right now. What's been the key to your pass rush, do you think, this season?
Well, I'd like to say I take the credit for coaching the D-line, but I can't say that. But our guys have done a good job of, being able to rush the quarterback. We feel like that, our defensive line has been fairly consistent over the year. And then beginning of the season, we felt like that both sides of the football and the line of scrimmage, these guys got a few older guys there that give us a chance to stay in some ball games and compete a little bit. But our guys have done a good job of staying with the rush and continue to work the quarterback. And that's the whole thing for D-line, is just being persistent and try to keep your feet moving.
Hey, Jay, they've got a quarterback that's from right down the road from you guys. Can you talk a little bit about what Cody's done this year, what you've seen from him on film?
Well, of course, I wasn't here last year, but the years before, you could watch him as he was progressing. Coach Fiattar does a great job coaching the quarterbacks, and you see that he's very sound and fundamentally now that he's a senior, and not that he wasn't then, but you can see him really starting to blossom as a quarterback, and doesn't make many bad reads at all. He gets the ball where it needs to go. He can move in the pocket. He can get out of trouble if he needs to. He manages the offense very, very well. He picks up blitzes. There's a lot of things that, he's just a veteran, and the game has really slowed down for him. You see that, and he plays within himself, and, you can tell he's the leader of the offense. It's just, he's done a really, really tremendous job.
Other questions for Coach Thomas? Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right, joined now by Matt Viator, the head coach at McNeese State. Last week, the Cowboys beat Stephen F. Austin 69-38, and this week play host to Northwestern State. That game is Saturday at 7 p.m. on ESPN3. McNeese State 8-2 overall, 4-1 in conference play. Coach, talk a little bit about your win last week, and then what you're expecting at home Saturday against the Demons.
Sure, really big win for us last week. Really proud of our players. Coming off of a sound beating by Southeastern, and able to get on the road, go play a good Stephen F. Austin team, and we haven't had a lot of success the last couple times we went to Nacogdoches, and we've gotten beaten. So to go up there and win the football game, and was really exciting. It's also exciting to leave and feel like you made contributions in all three phases. Defensively, we did some really good things. Offensively, we made some plays, and then made some huge plays in special teams with Spencer, on the returns, and also forced a fumble on punt returns. So really big game for us, and really excited for our players. But now we come back home and play Northwestern, who's won 2 straight games, and I'm really impressed with what they're doing, and what Coach Thomas has done up there. And when you watch them throughout the course of the year, I think they're getting better and better, which we would all like to do. But they're continuing, in my opinion, to get better each game when you watch them, especially on the offensive side of the football. I think they've continued to improve. You can tell that Atkins is really comfortable with what they're doing now. A lot like us offensively, in a sense. You don't really know who the guy is. They play a lot of different running backs, throw the ball to a lot of different guys. So the offense is spread out, but it looks like Atkins has really settled in, and their offense has really improved over the last 3 or 4 games, and you can see it on tape. Defensively, I think they've been sound all year. I mean, some of those guys like Deemer and Burt White, and those guys have been there forever, and they can really play. Patrick Black, has been a really good football player for them. So it's going to be a tough game, obviously. It seems like every team we play is on a roll when we play them, and they're certainly on a roll. And McNeese Northwestern, that's the other facet of this. All the games since I've been here have been extremely competitive. Both teams play hard against each other, and that certainly has always been indicative of any Jay Thomas coach team, whether he was at Nichols or Northwestern. They're going to compete for 4 quarters, and so we certainly have a huge test Saturday.
We'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Matt Viator at McNeese.
Coach, Brett McCormick at the Town Talk in Alexandria.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Can you talk a little bit about Cody and the progress that he's made, and really kind of how he's really stood out this year?
I think the first thing, what Coach Thomas said is so true, is, there's no question the game has slowed down, and, as opposed to 3 or 4 years ago, but he's really matured in the offense, and he's done a really good job for what we ask him to do, and I think he's gotten better and better each year, and and then the other thing too, we've put a lot more on him each year, in terms of the run game, protections, what we're trying to do. We're letting him, go to different routes versus what he sees, and we've done more no huddle this year, so we've put a little bit more on him each year, and he's been a joy to be around. But I think he's gotten a little bit better each year, and I think he's a really good quarterback, especially for what we ask him to do.
Well, to follow up to that, he's 20 miles away from Northwestern. How did you go in there and pluck him out?
Well, we just, we're basically looking for a quarterback. And at the time, I had several runners, and we wanted a kid that could throw it, and he can really throw it. Got a great release, and and we'd kind of seen all that. And at the time, I don't know if this had anything to do with anything, but at the time, Northwestern was going through a coaching change. So, so I knew about him, and we were recruiting him, and so that was kind of that. So I don't know, like I said, I don't know if that had anything to do with it, but I remember at the time too, going in there, and Northwestern was going through a coaching change at the time, and I really don't know after that. But I know us and Northwestern were both on him before the coaching change, and then after that, I don't know.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Coach Matt Vines with the Shreveport Times.
Yes, sir.
You had talked about Northwestern State's offensive progression throughout the past couple of weeks. What are you seeing as some of their biggest improvements recently?
I just think overall in the execution of what they're doing, I mean, you can see the whole kind of the whole puzzle coming together in terms of what they're doing, and and I think Atkins is the biggest key. Looking at it, and they've continued each week, I think, to do a fantastic job of expanding their offense. Each week, there's some new things in each game if you go, because we look at cut-ups, and I like to go back and look at every game and watch a little bit of each game, and you can see the progression of them installing their offense and continuing to install a little bit more each week. So I think the tough thing to defend them also is there's going to be some new wrinkles each week as they continue to add to the offense, and so that's always a challenge.
Anything else for Coach Viator at McNeese? Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
You bet. Ray, are you with us?
I'm here.
All right, joined now by Ray Woodard, the head coach at Lamar. Last week, the Cardinals lost to Northwestern State, 37-28, and this week play host to Stephen F. Austin. That game is Saturday at 6 p.m. Lamar is 4-6 overall, 1-4 in conference play. Coach, if you would talk a little bit about your game last week against the Demons, and then what you're expecting this week from the Lumberjacks.
Well, I guess it was an exciting game to watch, very competitive game, a seesaw game. The first half, we did a couple of things that we hadn't been doing. We turned the ball over a couple of times, and they were kind of unforced there as a lateral. It was ruled a lateral and an exchange problem that took opportunities away from our offense. But defensively, we had a big interception for a touchdown, and we ran a punt back for a touchdown, and offensively we scored one touchdown. So all three phases had kind of contributed. We went in at halftime up before, and it felt we were in a decent position. I got to credit Jay and his staff and his team that they fought and did a great job of getting up on us in the second half. But we get past midfield, pick up a first down, look up, it's about 5 minutes to go in the game. We need and we're only down 2. We need probably another first down and a couple of yards, and we're in field goal range, and we can't get it done. And then that's to their credit and our discredit. But third down, if we picked up some of it, I may have went for it, but we got sacked, and their defensive line's leading the league in sacks. Have done a great job. So, we punt the ball away, still got all our timeouts with over 4 minutes to go, hoping that we could come down and get the ball back, and they didn't do that. Northwest did a great job of controlling the clock and running the ball, and actually went down and scored and iced the game, and that's to their credit. They did more right than we did the last 5 minutes of the game, but very disappointing that we couldn't get the win. I'm very proud of the way we're competing, and we are better. We've improved, but they did not show up in the win column, and that's something that we're still working hard to do around here. With that said, we got to put this one behind us, because here comes Stephen F. Austin. Looking at those guys, look very familiar to what it looked in the past. You turn on film, I'll watch more of their offense. I'm a defensive coach. Brady Attaway is still doing all the things he did last year, and their offense is way up there in completions and yards and points, and what they're doing now, they're running the ball even better with Gus Johnson and Keith Lawson, and they're just tough to slow down, and they're tough to keep off the board. Defensively, we're very familiar with Octavius Hippolyte and Colin Garrett, and they're very active, and their thing they're going to have to, they live and die by is if they can eliminate the big plays. Well, what concerns me is they've defended us very well in the past. So we know that it's going to be a tough game for us.
we're going to have to just have a little amnesia, correct what we can, and move on. Because if we don't, this offense is scary. They'll put up just a ton of points on you. So we're going to have to be ready.
All right, we'll go ahead and open up for questions now for Ray Woodard, the head coach at Lamar.
Hey, Coach Woodard, it's Kevin Gore in Nacogdoches.
How you doing, Kevin?
Good. You've made a lot of strides on defense, and maybe talk about what y'all are doing particularly well on that side of the ball, but in light of going in, to a game with Stephen F. Austin.
Well, Coach Bill Bradley and our entire defensive staff, I think, do a very good job, and they're all back. We had them all here last year. We were a little younger on defense last year. The system was in place. They had a very good spring together, and we got a lot of experience back and a lot of continuity, and they kind of hit the ground running. Up front, Jesse Dixon is really having a good year, and Tyrus McLaughlin makes big plays, and we just got some playmakers, and I think you got to credit Coach Bradley and the staff for the job they do to put these guys in positions to make plays. But we have progressed defensively. I'm very proud of what we're doing.
In the past with Stephen F., maybe y'all had was it a case of you just not covering real well, or is it a case to where maybe y'all weren't really good up front, or it's just that Stephen F.'s passing games just kind of had their way with you, not necessarily last year, but the previous 2 years. So is there anything on the back end that are y'all doing pretty good in pass defense?
Well, I think it's a combination. The more pressure you can get on somebody, the better off you're going to be. But at the same time, they get rid of the ball so quick, you're going to have to play some coverage too. And they've been very good offensively every year, and not just against us. They put up points on everybody. They're just a good offensive football team, and when you're young and you're not very good, you get exposed, and I think that's what happened early on. They were just a lot better than we were.
Maybe talk about your offense a little, Coach. Stephen F.'s defense's problems been pretty much well chronicled, but just talk about you all seem to be pretty balanced, and maybe just I'm kind of opening the floor. Talk about how your offense has been, and maybe the chances you'll have this weekend.
Well, offensively is a little different, kind of mirror opposite of our defense. We're very young offensively. We only start 3 seniors on offense. It's taken a little longer. I like how we've progressed. I think Caleb Berry's done a good job of kind of growing up in the offense. This is his first full year to start. He makes good decisions. We don't turn the ball over much. We do have a good mixed run pass, and we're coming off a game that productivity-wise was one of our worst games. But overall, I'm proud of how we progressed. It's kind of been a work in progress this year, but we seem to get better and better as we go along, and these guys will be better. Like I said, a lot of youth over there, a lot of young guys that are, the more they play together, the better they're going to get.
Thank you, Coach.
All right.
Questions for Ray Woodard. All right, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Coach Fritz, are you with us?
Yes, sir.
All right, joined now by Willie Fritz, the head coach at Sam Houston State. Last week, the Bearcats beat Nichols 49-24, and this week traveled down to Hammond, Louisiana, to take on Southeastern Louisiana. That game is Saturday at 3 p.m. on the Southland Conference television network. Sam Houston State 8-2, overall 4-1, tied with McNeese for second place in the conference, 1 game behind Southeastern. Coach, talk a little bit about your home finale against Nichols, and then what you're expecting Saturday at Southeastern.
Well, we had senior day last Saturday, and have a really good group of seniors, and so we were proud of what they've accomplished here at Sam Houston. I thought we played really well. We through 3 quarters, going into the 4th quarter, we're up 49-3, and played well in all 3 phases. Disappointed, we didn't finish the game with our young guys like we would like to. We give them an opportunity to get in there and compete and play. I'd like to see them play a little bit better, but they did gain some valuable experience. Offensively, I thought Brian Bell had another
good game for us, running and passing. Torrance Williams had some big plays, and then defensively, Mike Wade, a free safety, really had a good ball game. He's tackling extremely well and had a big pass interception for a touchdown. And Jesse Beauchamp, one of our inside linebackers, played another a very good game. So we're happy with the win. Going on the road this week to play Southeastern Louisiana. I think Coach Roberts has done a phenomenal job in a short period of time. Extremely talented. He's done a super job, he and his staff, of recruiting and getting young men in there from all over the nation. Good mix of high school, junior college, and four-year transfer kids. Very well coached and play extremely hard. So it's going to be a heck of a test for us, a tremendous challenge, and we're looking forward to going over there and competing against a quality opponent such as Southeastern Louisiana.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for Willie Fritz, the head coach at Sam Houston State.
Good morning, Coach. This is John Lenz at the Hammond Daily Star.
Hi, John.
Going back and trying to compare with last year, obviously you guys had your way with this team a little bit. It looks to me like that this is a more physically imposing Southeastern team, that the matchup might be a little bit better this year than it was last year. Seemed like physically you guys had your way in that one.
Well, it was one of those games. I think I talked to you about this after the ball game last year. I've been on the other side where everything goes right for you and everything goes wrong for your opponent. So I think that was a big part of it. And we jumped up and we played extremely well. Probably the best game we played last season. Maybe the best game we played since I've been here in all three facets. They've added some guys. I think the key element, though, that they added, obviously, is the quarterback. They've got a guy who can beat you with his legs or throwing the ball, and if you don't have a great quarterback, you got to be real good every place else to be able to compete. If you're good every place else and you got a great quarterback, then you're going to have a great team, and that's what they have this year. They're very athletic, good size, roll a lot of guys, tremendous speed. Just a really good overall ball club. It's hard to find any weaknesses with them.
I wonder, the quarterbacks, two a little bit different players, but if you can talk about that sort of matchup, they don't really match up with each other. But you've got, your guys just a flat winner, and then all the things that Brian can do. Can you talk about how those, that quarterback situation will play out in this game?
Well, just watching him on tape and have had a chance to watch him throughout the year, I think Bennett carries himself extremely well, has a lot of confidence. You don't see a lot of bull with him when he's playing. He's out there concentrated and focused, and just, if you're not right defending the option, he's going to tuck it and run with it for, he's had a long run almost every game with the option, and then, you get everybody covered back there and you're feeling good about things, he'll take off and scramble. And I think he had a 50-some yarder last week. So he's just really dangerous both ways. Good touch, good stable of receivers. Brian, I think, really does a great job of managing the game. He's does a good job of running the ball, throwing the ball, and like you said, he's a winner. He's won a ton of games for us here. Both extremely good quarterbacks.
One of your question mark areas this year was up front. I think you had one offensive lineman returning. Can you talk about the development of your offensive line and how they have played?
They've done a very good job. Our offenses are fairly similar, and when you have these types of offense where you're trying to stretch the field vertically and horizontally, you got to have some guys up front that can move a little bit, and that's probably our strength with our offensive line. Those guys all have really good feet, and a couple of them were actually defensive line prospects, recruits for us at one time. So they're getting a little better each and every week. We're not real big, but I think we've got extremely good feet.
One of the separation points between the great teams is the ability to go on the road and win, and you guys have had a remarkable record in that respect the last couple of years. What's behind that, and how does that play into this game Saturday at Southeastern?
Well, we've got a good group of young men. We travel well. I've never had anything occur where I was embarrassed or thought that the guys weren't focused and concentrating on the game. Since I've been here, and they just realized in this league, you gotta play your very best at all times, whether you're playing at home or on the road, and I think with our coaching staff, we've got a little bit of familiarity with traveling and also traveling within this league. So, those are some of the things that I think that might attribute to some of the success we've had on the road.
You're going to get everybody's best shot, given what you've had the last couple of years. This is also, Southeastern, maybe a little more excitement here because it hasn't happened here before. You're obviously going to be running into, I know you're used to it, but it's going to be a very hostile environment Saturday.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll have a good crowd. They ought to have a great crowd. I'd be very supportive of what Coach Roberts and his staff has done there. I mean, they've done a tremendous job. And this ought to be a great ball game for the fans to come watch.
Thank you, Coach. See you Saturday.
Thank you.
Anything else for Coach Fritz? All right, Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
JC, are you with us?
I'm here.
All right, joined now by JC Harper, the head coach at Stephen F. Austin. Last week, the Lumberjacks lost to McNeese 69-38, and this week, this week are at Lamar. That game is Saturday at 6 p.m. SFA 3-7 overall, 1-4 in the conference. Coach, if you would, talk a little bit about your game last week and then what you're expecting down in Beaumont on Saturday.
Okay. Well, we had senior day as well. Wasn't quite what we wanted it to be, but I think you got to give credit to Matt Viatar and his entire staff and McNeese football team. A really, really good football team. Very well coached. Very impressed with Deontay Spencer. He obviously had a great game. I thought, their offensive line played tremendous. I thought their defense really played well and just really got after us. I was really happy for Fenler Boyd. He continues to make plays in the last few weeks, really showing up not only receiving but throwing the football. And Marquise Mosley stepped up in the absence of Aaron Thomas and made some big plays. Keith Lawson played really well. I thought Brady played as good as he could play in the game. So overall, disappointed in the loss, but happy for our players' efforts. So now we take it to Lamar. Excited about the opportunity to come to Beaumont. We've got a lot of players from Beaumont, and so they're excited about going as well. Hopefully we can get healthy. If we can get healthy, I think we'll have a chance. But when you watch Lamar and their defense, really, really impressed with the way that they play. They play tremendously hard, very athletic, big, 9 seniors. Very impressive to watch 9 seniors play, and we're very young. So when you see 9 seniors on defense and the way they play, it's really impressive. The defense, I think. Offensively, really impressed with their center. Really impressed with Caleb Berry. I think he's playing very well. Obviously, Reggie Beckleton is a heck of a football player and has had tremendous games. One that's really impressive is in the Southeastern Louisiana game. He played very, very well. Special teams, very well coached. You can see they do a lot of good things on special teams. So overall, it's going to be a really big challenge for us, and we're looking forward to going this weekend.
All right, we'll go ahead and open it up for questions now for J.C. Harper at Stephen F. Austin.
Hey, Coach. This is Raymond Parks, the Beaumont Enterprise. How you doing today?
Good, Raymond. How about you?
Doing good. Well, Coach, look, you're coming off playing 3 ranked teams, 3 of the best teams in the conference and everything like that. What have you learned about your team? Obviously, you guys have had struggles this year, but, what have you learned about your team through the losses and through the disappointment?
They never quit. We play hard the entire game, even through adversities that you're just like never seen anything like some of the things that have happened. But those happen when you play young people. We choose to recruit freshmen, and so when we play a lot of freshmen in some spots, you obviously see that it's tough for those guys. And then when you have older guys that have gotten injured, and those guys got to play, sometimes they're just not quite ready yet. They got all the ability, they're athletic, good recruits, they're just not quite ready to play at this level yet. And then I think defensively, our defensive line, I think, is really good. I think they play really well. Been really impressed with Javion Hatton. He's really played well each and every week. Malcolm Maddox, Aaron Robinson. I think all those guys have played really well. Colin Garrett, Hippolyte. I think our front six have played really pretty well. I've been impressed with Burton. He keeps getting better each and every weekend. Offensively, I don't know what more they can do other than just not turn the ball over. If they could just not turn the ball over, that's what happened against Sam Houston. We had 750 yards total offense, but when you turn the ball over, it's hard to win football games. That's something that anybody doesn't know. It's just we get there in the third quarter. If we could hold on to the football, it'd be a different deal, we think. And so I've learned that Brady Adaway has gotten better this year. He's much improved football player. I've learned that Tyler Boyd has gotten better each and every weekend. Brooks is a really good football player. I've learned that we miss Aaron Thomas when he's not out there. I've learned that offensive line is pretty good. I've learned that a freshman center has a hard time playing sometimes. But I've learned that Taryn Vaughn can play with a broken nose. All those things as you go through, there's a lot of positives.
Well, Coach, let me ask you this. You kind of touched on it earlier about Lamar's defense, how impressed you've been with them, watching them on tape. Their senior Layton. Where's your offense, which has been fantastic this season? What are you guys going to have to do on Saturday to be able to get the win? Against that tough defense.
Well, we feel like, and I don't know, this is the only offense that really as a head football coach I've ever run, other than my first year. And the thing about this offense is it really requires momentum, and it requires playing very fast. And so when we can play really, really fast, and then it comes in waves. It's kind of like basketball. If you ever watch basketball, and all of a sudden there'll be a wave of either three-pointers or dunks or whatever. And it's very similar to that. And so really has more to do with us than it has to do against anybody we play against. And but when teams, to me, as talented as Lamar is, and as old as they are, that creates a really big challenge for us, because obviously when you're older, you're bigger and you're stronger, and that sometimes obviously gives any offense problems. And because there can be some players that are dominant, and that's happening. I mean, Jesse Dixon is dominant. He's a dominant football player to me. I think he's really up in sacks in our league, and so those mismatches at times are going to be some problems. But I don't think it's any different than what Coach Woodard said. If we can really get the ball out quick, it's something that we really emphasize and talk about, and play really fast, and then we feel like we got a chance, because we get in the groove, we get in rhythm, and our tempo is good.
Coach, thank you so much. Best of luck this week.
Yeah, when we haven't had success, it's been because the other defenses keep us from doing that.
Okay.
Hey, Harp, this is Kevin Gore.
Yeah, hey, Kevin.
Maybe update us on Gus. Y'all seem to be a different team, with him than without him. Y'all hung around Sam Houston and was right with them. He had with this big game, and y'all ran the ball, I believe, over 40 times. And then last week he gets hurt, and y'all got behind. You started chunking. So, what's his status?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's no question. I mean, Gus, he's a difference maker, and it hurts when he's not out there because he obviously has a presence without him. He makes plays when sometimes we don't have to block him on. And I mean, he's hurt. You know, I mean, he's got an ankle injury, and it's not going to go away. Probably won't go away till the off season, and it's just whether or not he can do it or not. So we'll wait till game day and see whether or not he can go out there and play and do it. I mean, we hope he can, but we don't know.
What about AT? Is he
Same thing. He's much improved. I usually get the report, today, and from everything I gather, he's much improved, moving in the right direction, and it went from from no to questionable to probable, So every day that goes by, it's better.
Maybe just an update real quick, Coach, on y'all's the morale of your team and just what you think your team can offer the last two, considering they're on the road and against teams that are kind of in the same state as you guys, but these teams seem to be playing a little bit better. But main thing is y'all going on the road and just kind of a morale update from you guys.
I mean, I don't think anybody's morale could ever be good when you're not winning. Winning is important. I don't think it'd be any different if you were making investments and you weren't ever making any money. I don't think anybody'd be really happy about that. I mean, there's all kinds of analogies you could use, and when you're dealing with young people, you want them to enjoy every day, and so. I'm that kind of person where we're going to make it good. We're going to do everything we can to have a great morale, and we're going to go out on Saturday and play our very best. I don't think there's any doubt that our players will do that. I feel really good about learning from my experience as a head football coach. And the last time we went through this, my first year, where we had injuries and we were playing young people. And, I learned that the way I went about it that year wasn't really good, and so this year I'm not doing that. And we're looking for positives, and we're finding good things. And no different what I've said each and every week. I love this football team. I like their effort, and I like the way they go about it. If we will just quit beating ourselves, then we'll have a chance to win the football game.
Thank you, Coach.
Anything else for J.C. Harper? Coach, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
That will conclude this week's Coaches Conference Call. Appreciate your participation, media and coaches. We'll have an archive of this call available on our website later today. We'll also make sure that our weekly release gets posted just as soon as possible. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, but we'll talk with everyone again next Tuesday. Thanks.